Welcome to this issue of the Spiritual Tetralogy newsletter dated May 9th, 2025. I'm Joe Figueres, and today I'll talk about the astrology and the numerology of the full moon in Scorpio taking place on Monday, May 12th, and the absolute liberation this energy offers us. It's very cool. Then I want to talk about surrender and what it actually means. We always hear about surrender around a full moon, and it's not about giving up. It's about loosening your grip on what you want and trusting that what's next is shaped for you, not by you. And then I want to give you a little more detail into what's actually going to evolve within the Embodiment Continuum community that launches on Sunday, May 18th, because it's not like a lot of the virtual communities out there. Now, to be honest, I don't belong to a lot of the communities, so technically I have no idea what goes on within them. However, I do know that this one is specifically focused on disrupting illusions, evolving your patterns, and anchoring your new frequencies so that we can shift into embodied self-mastery. You're hearing that word a lot. It's all out there within the spiritual community, and it just means you're living your spirituality versus learning about it and studying about it. You've heard me say before that performative spirituality is done. It's over. But what that actually means is that it's time to move into a new type of spirituality. And with Pluto now in Aquarius, which is currently retrograde, and with all of the other astrological placements and transits that have taken place over the last 2 years, as well as the next 2 years, it's such an incredibly evolutionary and transformative time. And I just want to help people prepare for it because, wow, it is going to be so powerful. And as you can see reflected in our world events and politics, things are changing, things are evolving. They're never going to go back to the way they were, no matter how hard one fights for it, because they're based on illusion and oppressive ideologies and patterns that just do not support us anymore. The energy does not support this anymore, and that's why it feels so awful and chaotic and grasping and cruel and inhumane and savage and any of the other words that you want to use. We're not going back to the way that they were. The energy does not support it. So this is the foundation for the embodiment continuum. And I just want to talk a little bit more about what you'll get as a founding member. And it's just $33 a month. And if you're like 2 months in, you're like, man, this isn't what I thought it was, then you can cancel. It's no big deal. I give everybody the option of canceling. But I really think you're going to like what we do because it is about teaching you how to integrate all of the things, the ideas, the behaviors that you've disrupted, that you've excavated. And you're going to do this yourself. You're going to see how freaking powerful you are with some simple practices. And maybe some aren't so simple, but they're definitely transformative and they're beautiful. And we're going to do a lot of holding space for each other and meditation and all sorts of stuff. All right. Next, and lastly, I want to highlight one of my favorite intuitive insight services called Threads of We. This is such a fun, intuitive exploration because we look into the Akashic history of your most important and profound soul contracts. And there's so much more that comes up. We look at your karma, their karma, how they work together, where you are in your personal year, where they are, and how that is supported or not supported. Because where you are in your 9-year cycle is going to create situations and circumstances based on where they are on their 9-year cycle. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with the astronumerology. The full moon in Scorpio offers us liberation. Now, this particular full moon is at 22 degrees of Scorpio, and it rises on Monday, May 12th. Here's some fun info. In astrology, the 22nd degree is sometimes linked with death, which is a symbolic match for Scorpio, the sign of endings, transformation, and deep change. And this particular lunation invites you into the realm of emotional intensity, inner excavation, and letting go. So back to the 22nd degree, I believe it's called the kill or be killed degree, which, it's been debunked. Some people say, oh yeah, and others say, no. I have a 22 degrees in my chart, and mine is Lilith in Gemini, and I am still kicking. So I didn't pay any attention to it, but when I first saw that, I first read that, I was like, what? Anyway, back to Scorpio energy. It doesn't play at the surface. It pulls you into the underworld, so to speak, of your own truth. And under this full moon, you're likely to feel a really strong call to confront what's been buried, to release emotional baggage you've become exhausted from carrying, which is the foundation of surrender. When you're just like, okay, I give up. I can't do this anymore. And to face what needs to end so that something more aligned can emerge. There may be revelations for you, sudden clarity, or even emotional upheaval as that sort of suppressed truth rises to the surface. Now, adding to the intensity, this is the final full moon in a sequence that has been activating Uranus, the planet of disruption, surprise, awakening. And Uranus shakes the foundation, especially where we've grown too comfortable in misalignment. It brings breakthroughs and shockwaves or sudden shifts in relationships, values, or emotional patterns. There's no predicting exactly what will surface, so expect the unexpected, but also expect the good unexpected, the positive unexpected, the freeing and exciting and adventurous unexpected. Pluto, Scorpio's modern ruler, stationed retrograde a couple days ago on May 4th, and its energy is now internalized, right? So we've already got that moving in and out of us. And you may feel this within your own life as sort of this reckoning with what you've avoided. It's like you can no longer procrastinate. I had a client yesterday who they've been knowing for the last 10 years that they need to move. Their body, their physical body has been reacting, and the entire message was, hello, time is up. It's time to go. So that's that reckoning that I talked about. The full moon amplifies your desire, I guess, for an inner excavation. It's going to bring old patterns and suppressed wounds to the surface, but not to punish you, but to liberate you. And listen, trust me, I am one of you who has been going through one of the most challenging seasons and phases of my life. And so this is exactly what's going on. And I'm so glad this is here because honestly, I'm exhausted. I can't do carry this anymore. So I'm glad, I'm happy, I'm ready to go. So the message is that it's time to deal with what's been making you less effective, less free, less aligned with the world that you want to live in. That's, again, that reckoning, and it's that inner excavation. You can call it a clean slate moment, and it's a chance to let the old die to begin again. And there's the Scorpio theme. So let the light of the Scorpio moon reveal to you not only what is weakening you, I guess, so to speak, disempowering you, but what is waiting to empower you as well. What is dormant but full of potential. Look at that in your life and what is sacred and ready to be reclaimed. Confront whatever emerges, not with judgment, but with compassion. This has been a really hard lesson to learn. I've had to do some inner child work to learn to, hold myself with compassion because we're taught you have to take care of your shit, right? You should be able to make this right. You should be able to fix this. You should be able to work through this. Should. And so when you flip the switch and you say, it's okay, I'm here, I'm not leaving you, we're going to do this together, it really does shift something in you. It did in me anyway. And I am the most Capricorn of Capricorns out there. And I was like, oh, my little baby inner Joe, like she needs some love. So Scorpio energy is intense, very intense. But you know what? Again, it's the energy of transformation. And it's also loyal and resilient and capable of that profound change. So use this moment to renew your commitment to yourself and let your inner child or your shadow know, I see you. I vow to rebuild safety, joy, and stability in my life. And we're going to do this together. And I'm not going to abandon you. I'm going to be here. And I am going to do this for you, with you, together. The full moon is at its most potent on the night of May 11th. So that would be Sunday night, just before it peaks. This is an incredibly intuitive time. So I recommend that you pull cards, that you work with your pendulums, that you connect with your spirit guides, you open your Akashic records, you journal what comes up from the depths or what's going on. Participate in intuitive practices, because when you ask for help from spirit, they will give you help through messages or guidance or just synchronistic moments over the next couple of days. Remember, on a full moon, we release. And so what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I'm ready to release this. And you're going to watch the progression of that release over the next 2 weeks, with a culmination at the new moon in which you'll set an intention. So Scorpio, overall, is inviting you to go deep, not to drown, but to discover. So let this moon be a portal into your inner knowing, into, you already know, you're just not allowing it to come up to look at it and address it. It's just a reminder. This moon is reminding you that the most powerful changes begin within. All right, so now let's look at the numerology, because it adds it supports it so beautifully, and it adds some fun and adventure to it. So May is a 5 universal month, and it's a month that carries the vibration of change, movement, and liberation. So when you allow all that stuff to come up and you look at it and you do the hard work of addressing it, even if it's to say, I see you and this is hard and I don't want to deal with you, but I promise to be present, that 5 energy is going to help you make those necessary shifts. It encourages you to break free from what's become stagnant and to lean into new experiences with curiosity and courage. That's the way that we want to look at this. Not as, it's going to bring chaos. It's going to, break up my world. It's going to, we're going to have a tower moment. Tower moments can also be positive. Sudden change and adventure and sudden good fortune. So come at it from that direction. And I think that you'll have a lot, I don't know, maybe you'll be able to move through anything that happens with peace. May will challenge you to step outside of your comfort zone for sure in new ways, but it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. Well, I won't say that, because stepping outside of our comfort zone is uncomfortable. It doesn't have to feel bad. It can feel exciting, scary, but in really good ways. And so when paired with the transformative influence of the Scorpio full moon, the 5 energy, the freedom-seeking energy of May, becomes a really freaking powerful time to liberate yourself from the change of anything that keeps you feeling stuck and burdened. So where the full moon helps us reveal what must be released, the 5 energy challenges us to step outside our comfort zone, discard those old ways and paths that really never led to any new experiences, right? We're trying to create stability using the same old shit that worked, a year or 2 ago, but it's not working now, and all that does is cause us to feel frustrated. So it's time to try new approaches in order to evolve how you get there. And this is also time to plug the Embodiment Continuum community, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to try new approaches, new spiritual ideologies in order to evolve how we get to where we want to go. All right. So back to May. In other words, Scorpio's endings and change, when coupled with 5 energy, propels the journey forward. So while you might feel the call to confront what's been buried, you might also find that it's going to require you to stretch, to experiment, or to surrender old ways of trying to create the safety and stability that you need, crave, want, desire. Look, think of it this way. It's a month to expect the unexpected while allowing the how to be more fluid. It asks you to build foundations that are strong, not rigid. May wants you to trust that even unexpected detours are part of your unfolding process. And that's a term you're going to hear me use a lot, the unfolding or the unfolding process. So together, the Scorpio full moon and the 5 universal month invites you to let the old die so that you can begin again. To stay open to course corrections. They don't have to feel bad. Release the idea of how things should look or even how you want them to look, because that's resistance. Just let go and let the universe put you where it wants you to be, because it knows where you wants to be. You've planted the seeds and you have to trust that they're in good hands and then patiently wait for the right moment. Remind yourself that things always go your way. And then finally, surrender and stay rooted in trust, even as you navigate uncertainty. So I just want to make a little note here. I often struggle with the concept and process of surrender, right? So later next I'm going to talk a little bit about what exactly it looks like when we surrender. And so I hope it's helpful. A spiritual self-audit is one of the pillars, the foundations of the embodiment continuum community. And it's a gentle but powerful check-in with your soul to help you excavate your own truth and begin to unravel the beliefs fear may have taught you to accept as your truth. Remember that we're disrupting illusions. It's not about fixing yourself. You're not freaking broken. It's about remembering who you've always been and then looking at your traits as those that need to be brought into balance. Okay. The 4 pillars that we will explore within the community are relationships, career, health, and finances. And each of those areas, we hold values. And within those values, we will do a spiritual self-audit to figure out what exactly is going on within us. And it's about the subconscious, right? Consciously, but it's often tied to, what do I fear? All right. So what I've done in this newsletter is that I've given you a little look into a peek into a spiritual self-audit, one that helps you integrate the practice of surrender. And so it goes really beautifully with this full moon. All right, so let's talk about surrender first. It isn't giving up, it's giving in. And not giving in to the fear or the shame, but to the truth that you were never meant to carry this alone. Total surrender in your life can look like letting go of the belief that certainty equals safety. If I know, I'm going to be safe. No, that's not true. It's about no longer trying to timeline or control the logistics with your mind alone, pushing, hustling, creating. Even in the areas of manifestation or dreaming and visualization, which are beautiful, wonderful practices, those are there to help you plant the seeds. But when they're done and I'm going to manifest this thing and I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it consistently like 10 times a day, that's resistance. Surrender can look like making space for the universe to move you without trying to micromanage every detail. It can look like feeling the fear, but still allowing life to carry you. That's really important because that is true surrender. It can look like crying when you need to cry, feeling like you don't know what to do and letting that be enough for that moment, just expressing your emotions. It can look like not blaming yourself for being here at this point in my life. A lot of times we'll ask ourselves, how did I get here again? What the fuck is happening? What is going on? How am I here? And then also not worrying that others are judging you, right? Who cares? You're going through your own spiritual journey, which they're going through theirs, and you're 2 different soul blueprints. And so no one can judge you. And if they do, that's part of their soul blueprint trait that they need to work on. So I like to politely point out that maybe they want to look at their judgment wound within their soul blueprint. And then Surrender can also look like not chasing income or timelines from a place of fear, but moving when your body says move. That means from your gut, from your intuition, from inspiration. When you are told that you need to surrender, or you realize that it's time to surrender, you're not here in that moment or there in that moment because you failed. You're there because you said yes to radical change. You said yes to change. You asked the universe, help me learn how to change. Help me learn how to save myself. Help me learn how to shift, whatever. Surrender is saying, I will let myself be carried even if I don't know where we're going, even if it makes no logical sense, even if I don't yet trust that life won't drop me, even if it's scary, it pisses me off, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm mad, even if I'm still going to let myself be carried. So let's look at surrender and unburdening from a spiritual perspective. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is ask yourself, what do I value? So make a list of like 5 things that you value. Freedom, safety, prosperity, family, community, fun, adventure, yourself. Whatever that is, be very clear at what it is that you value. And then you're going to want to look at what habits, attachments, or beliefs you need to release in order to legitimately evolve into the most authentic version of yourself, where you're at peace within your mind and body, and then you're embodying those values. Okay? And do the work around that. Surrender is not about defeat, it's about alignment. It's the soul's way of saying, I release the illusion that I must control my life in order to feel safe or be safe. So when you're burdened by fear, shame, control, expectations, and timelines, your energy, it gets all tangled. You're full of this noise. It's like the white noise, like within your soul blueprint. And spiritually speaking, that creates static. That was my what's it called? A sound effect, static. And that static blocks our intuition, our guidance, our receiving, and our ability to move and take inspired action. You might try to manifest or shift, but nothing seems to land. I know that that's what I was struggling with. And I'm a master manifestation. Like, it's just natural within my life path and my soul urge numbers and numerology, and then within my astrology. But nothing was coming to fruition. And that's because there was no energetic space for the new. So I had to release a ton of stuff. I had to surrender is what I had to do, because I was carrying the old stuff like it was still mine, but there was no way for it to come through. So this is what you need to hear from yourself when you get to that point. I trust myself to survive this. I do not need to fix this all at once. I only need to meet this moment. And when we go into dialogue with our inner child, inner self, inner adult, it doesn't matter, that inner part of us, and we're saying, I'm here, I'm with you, I'm never going to leave you. That is so fucking beautiful. Because when you surrender, it's an energetic clearing. And you loosen your grip on what you want and trust that what's next is shaped for you and not by you. And then that creates a void, an open field, because then you can't enter if the space is still occupied by static, by fear of past outcomes repeating and versions of you that were only built for survival. So when you hear let go so something new can come in, this is what it means. It means stop trying to force the old system to work, the old ways. Stop trying to force them to work. Stop filling your mind and nervous system with what ifs. Stay out of your head. Stay into your body. Stay present. Go do something. Talk to your inner child and say, I'm here. I'm present. Let's stay in the present. Let's go do something that raises my vibration. You're still going to worry about the thing, but that you have practices in place to disrupt that energy. Remember, disrupting illusions. And then also, letting go of something new means letting your next season find you instead of you trying to find it. And that is that whole hustle culture, right, that we've heard for so long, that it just doesn't work. So from the egoic perspective, because I don't like, you all know how I feel about ego, but the ego says, tell me what's next so that I can be prepared, so that I can do and push and hustle. But surrender says, I'll walk into what's next, even if I don't know what it is. And that doesn't mean, like I said, that you're not doing anything. It means that you are staying present and you're doing what you can in the moment as it comes. It really is about presence. And I know that from the podcast, the Esoterics podcast, Fiorelise and I used to complain all the time about Eckhart Tolle. Not that his teachings are wrong or anything, but dude, his book was so freaking boring and hard to read. And he's not the easiest for me, my brain and her brain. He's not easy to read. Anyway, so we would complain all the time about that. But his teachings about being in the present moment are really on point and profound. So shout out to Tolle. And your teachings are exactly what I'm talking about now. It's like staying in the present, and let me walk into what's next, even if I don't know what it is, because in every present moment, I am not in resistance. But every time I say, I need to know what's next, I need to prepare, you are in resistance. And it's that resistance that keeps you from the thing that you want to experience. All right, so if you would like more spiritual self-audits that support all areas of life, like I said, relationships, career, health, and finances, and if this mini audit feels supportive, you'll love what's waiting inside the Embodiment Continuum community for just $33 a month. You get full access to all the tools and teachings and live experiences that help you disrupt these type of limiting illusions. Reclaim your clarity, embody the life that you're here to live. Learn more, go to my website and click on the link, Embodiment Continuum Community. And it's not just, me telling you, this is a whole immersive experiential. We're going to do meditations and card pulls and connect to our intuitive abilities, and we're going to go deep and we're going to share, and it's going to be a really wonderful community experience of learning how to embody your spirituality versus just, have it in your head. We're going to move this through your entire body. Lots of guest speakers, experts, right? Because there's a lot of things I'm not really expert at, like somatics and nervous system stuff. So I'm inviting really knowledgeable, wonderful, lovely humans to join us. So let's talk a little bit about what that is, okay? So first off, what is embodiment? All right. The definition is the practice of anchoring spiritual awareness into the physical body and everyday life. That's what embodiment is. Okay. It means not just knowing your truth, but living it. It means allowing your higher consciousness, your soul wisdom, and your inner truth to move through you in real time. Remember, staying present. And from a spiritual perspective, embodiment is the integration of your energetic, emotional, mental, and physical bodies. Okay, so we're going to talk about your frequencies, your auras, your physical bodies. It is the process of aligning the guidance of your higher self with how you act, choose, feel, respond, and create. Again, being present and aware. It's where our inner knowing connects with our consciousness, and it's where our soul's wisdoms shape our everyday experiences. So that's what embodiment is. Now, continuum, the definition of that is an unbroken, evolving flow, an energetic thread that connects one state of being to the next. So in spiritual terms, it represents the unfolding of consciousness. And again, there's that word unfolding, and I will be talking about unfolding soon enough. It's the unfolding of consciousness where there are no hard edges. There are only layers of who we are becoming, and they are accepted with self-compassion. We understand who the fuck we are and why. And this involves getting to know your tetralogy. I stopped giving tetralogy readings simply because there's so much information. It tended to overwhelm people. But there are very specific aspects of your soul blueprint that are tied to understanding who you are, that are tied to understanding your hard edges. And I say, no, let's look at those hard edges, because once we integrate them and accept them, then those are the character, quote unquote, flaws that become our character traits. And then we see, oh, it's just out of balance in this, not this huge thing. So that's one of the things that we're going to do in the community. A continuum honors the process of evolving as a spiritual being over the destination. It's more about the journey. It's not about where you're going to be. It's about how do you get there, and what do you take advantage of or do, or how are you present on the journey. And it allows for gradual integration. You're respecting your soul's growth, your human's growth. You understand that it happens in cycles and that it's not straight lines. And then the continuum also acknowledges that you can be two places at once. You can be coming and you can being, right? Being. You are becoming and you are already being. Okay, so in my mind, it was easier. It was more profound in my mind than trying to explain that. But I think you understand. It's about healing and also creating. It's about remembering and rewriting. So two places at once. A continuum respects your humanity while holding space for your divinity. It's about how to show up as a spiritual being in a three-dimensional world and do it like a fucking pro. It's not about perfection, though. It's about presence within your soul's unfolding. That's all your soul wants you to understand. So when you take the two and you combine them, the embodiment continuum is a community to disrupt illusions, evolve our patterns, anchor new frequencies, and shift into spiritual self-mastery. It's not just a monthly membership. It's a space where we'll explore our personal soul evolution in motion, day to day. You will use these practices and these teachings and this wisdom, and you'll bring your own wisdom to the collective. You'll use them every day in the present moment. You'll explore your personal soul evolution. I think I already said that. You'll see and integrate what is already true for you and what your soul already knows instead of chasing more knowledge. I'm not going to be giving you a bunch of workshops where you just sit there and you listen. No. This is about you're going to excavate. You're going to explore your own soul. You're going to say, well, what does my soul already know? What wisdoms do I already know? Instead of chasing more knowledge. You already have all the knowledge you need. This is where performative spirituality ends. And now it's about going inward. And this is how we disrupt illusions, by breaking free from those misleading spiritual beliefs that are out there, any of those bypassing beliefs. I want to look at very simple spiritual advice. And I want to say, listen to how this is disempowering. And really look at those and go, oh my gosh, I've been imbibing and absorbing and consuming all of these spiritual beliefs for so long, but they're actually really disempowering. We're going to look at misleading beliefs, cliches, and programming that literally keeps us stuck. I'm so excited about this work. Again, evolving patterns. We're going to learn tools and prompts and practices for mastering frequency shifts, because that's what true mastery is. It's about being able to shift your frequency. But then you want to anchor those new frequencies. And so there will be guided sessions, co-creation models. You're going to look at your tetralogy soul blueprints for the deepest understanding of yourself that you have. We're going to shift into embodied self-mastery with consciousness expansion. We're going to work with 5D energetics in a grounded way. We're going to work with 12D, 12th dimensional energetics. And so this continuum is going to celebrate the spiritual self-mastery in a 3D world. But that doesn't take place in a single moment. Again, it's a lifelong journey designed by your soul, and we are going to explore practices in order to bring that into your consciousness. The other thing that was really important to me when I designed this community is that the integration of spiritual truths into our daily perspectives, our daily choices, our daily relationships, our work and our self-perceptions. So if you're living life from this human perspective of this is my life and this is all there is, and good luck, bad luck, it's all random. when you look at it from the perspective of this is my spiritual truth, this is my spiritual path, things just shift and they change, and you just look at things different. It changes your perspective. We're going to learn to trust our inner authority and our intuitive discernment. So there will be some intuitive development, some practices, lots of practice sessions. It's not me just saying, if you're clairvoyant, this is what you need to know. No. We're going to put that clairvoyance to the test, but not in a way that's going to put you on, on the spotlight. You're going to do it in your own natural, gentle way. Our body, we reclaim our body as an instrument of intuition, safety, and soul expression. The mind-body connection, that's our human design. And so we're going to look at that and say, oh, this is how I receive my intuition. But what are all the other ways that we reclaim our body as an instrument of intuition? There's some chakra system teachings that I will not be giving because I am not a chakra expert. But there's really cool information out there that I just want to share with everybody. We move through soul shifts with more empowerment, empathy, and clarity. And a soul shift is when basically chaos, bullshit, life happens and it sucks, and we might, hit quote unquote rock bottom, and we're able to look at that and go, oh, this is what's going on. I am shifting. My external is shifting because my internal shifted a long time ago, and my body's been trying to tell me, but I haven't been listening. And then we're going to feel more empowered, and we're going to have some freaking empathy for ourselves, along with a little bit of clarity. And that's when we practice embodied self-compassion rather than perfection. None of us are perfect. Even you perfect Virgos, we're not perfect. And dude, the closest and the quickest that we learn that and we embody that, we integrate that, we start to give ourselves compassion. And that's really important. It shifts everything. And then another thing that's really important is that we'll cultivate our nervous system capacity to hold more self-trust, self-love, self-leadership. Again, I am not a nervous system expert, so I will be bringing in an expert, someone that can help us. So there's lots of collaborations that will be going on in this. So it's not going to just be you and me. We're going to have lots of guest speakers or presenters and some what I call consciousness labs, which are like workshops, but they're going to be more experiential than just sitting there and learning. Everything's going to be recorded. We're going to have a library where you can go to and access all this stuff. It's called the Bottega. You know me, I love unique and weird words for names or names for things. But if you look up the Bottega, it really is just a library. So here's the last thing I'll say about this beautiful opportunity to join as a founding member, which just means you've been here from the beginning. So you get a special price of $33, which I never, ever, 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 ever will change or charge you more as long as you stay in the community. If you leave and come back, you have to repay the current price. But as a founding member, you'll only ever pay $33. All right. Whether you're in a season of breakthrough or breakdown, contraction or expansion, you'll find yourself feeling really whole here because you're going to meet yourself where you're at. The embodiment continuum invites you to go deeper into or understand deeper into where you're going, if that makes sense. It doesn't really make sense, but hopefully you get it. So together as a collective, but also as these beautiful individuals coming together, we move from spiritual seekers to intentional creators of our own self-designed, fully embodied new paradigm. And paradigm is experience. It's a quantum shift. It's just you saying, okay, this is the life that I dreamed of or that I want to have. The community launches on Sunday, May 18th. We meet virtually every Sunday at 12 noon PST and every Wednesday evening at 4 p.m. PST. It's all via Zoom. And the replays will always, always, always be made available. The community is hosted at my website, so it's not Facebook based. I'm tired of Facebook. It is at joefigueras.com. And again, if you join as a founding member, it's only $33. So go there, sign up, please join us, bring your beauty to this group, give it a try. And if within 2 months you are like, nah, it's not for me, I will not be upset if you say, I'm going to try something else, because there's a lot of practitioners out there that are implementing a lot of wonderful new practices to help us shift into a new form, a new type of spirituality. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is threads of we. Not all soul connections are meant to be smooth, okay, but they're all meant to teach us, to awaken, to reveal. And so this service opens up the records of connection between you and another soul who has left a meaningful imprint on your journey. Whether they are a soulmate, a karmic mirror, a sacred companion, family, loved one, it doesn't matter. This reading illuminates the threads that bind your paths across lifetime. There's two types. You can do a couple reading where two people are present, or you can do a solo reading. In the solo reading, we focus on your personal experience of the bond, right? The other person is not present, but their energetic blueprint is. The origin or essence of the connection, where it began and why, any past life entanglements, unfinished stories, karmic echoes that are still unfolding, the lessons you agreed to learn through this relationship, even when it feels confusing or difficult, and the deeper invitation that this soul agreement is offering you in this life. For a reading with two souls, we enter both of your Akashic records simultaneously, holding space for the energy of the relationship itself. And we'll explore the original soul contract, what you came together to heal, shift, or co-create, the areas of natural harmony and challenges between you two. So this is very much like a synastry reading, where we look at your two soul contracts and show where you are compatible and where you might find challenging traits. We're going to look at your 5 core energetic alignments: emotional, mental, spiritual, karmic, and physical. We're going to look at any past life dynamics, and past lives always pop up in these. It's so fun and cool to see who you were before together. Sometimes it's partners, sometimes it's father, son, daughter, mother, mother, son, father, daughter, uncle, aunt, brothers, sisters. It could be anybody. And then we look at the opportunity to complete or evolve them, right? Or just to bring peace to them if they are a challenging relationship. And then how to bring greater compassion, clarity, and conscious choice to the connection. When you know what you know, when you didn't know what you know, it's like you consciously are able to make a connection. Soul agreements are not always easy, but they are always, always, always sacred. And they ask us to remember that no meeting is random and no bond was without purpose. So to book this session, you need the first, middle, last name, and birthday and year of the contract that you are inquiring about. Bring questions. Health questions are not permitted, but I will look at the source of a past life source of a current health issue. All right, beautiful souls. That wraps up this issue. Thank you for sharing your ears with me. If you have enjoyed this audio and want to get more, find, follow, and join me on the socials at Spiritual Tetralogy on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok, follow me on Blue Sky. I think I also have a Threads account. And then, of course, the Spiritual Tetralogy Facebook group that was recently activated. This is not an active group. Mostly I just post stuff in there related to the newsletter, but hopefully as more people join and they don't feel like joining the membership community, they can interact there. I will post a little bit of the stuff there, but the point of starting the Embodiment Continuum is to create a community where I share all of my stuff, all of my content and my teachings and I share all stuff Joe. Until next time, stay aligned, stay present, and keep embodying your beautiful, beautiful evolution. Talk to you later.